Good morning. My name's Amy, and I live in Richmond, Virginia, Zone 7B, I think. I wanted to just make a quick little intro before I go outside and do a little garden tour. I've always filmed garden tours. I think it's a really fun way to look back on how your garden has progressed over the years. So I figured why not post them to YouTube. And I'll probably also just include some of my other hobbies in these vlog type videos, which would be making stained glass and reading. A little background is that we moved into this house last fall, and we have spent most of our time the past year fixing up the inside. It's a 100-year-old historic house. So we've been fixing up the inside and done a little bit of work in the garden. Our previous house, I had a huge garden. We had 3/4 of an acre, and we lived there for almost 20 years, so my garden was pretty big. This house, while we do have a pretty big lot for our neighborhood, the lot size is less than 1/4 of an acre, so it's quite different. We did prioritize getting my raised beds built in the spring so I could have some vegetables growing. But that's really it. I have planted a couple of shrubs, and it looks quite messy out there, but I mean, it's the beginning of this house's garden, so it's not gonna look perfect for quite a while or ever. And I guess that's it. I'll go start the garden tour now. Thanks for watching. Okay, here we are, and it's a nice overcast, breezy day. It might start storming later. Like I said, everything's kind of messy right now. Also, it's approaching fall, so a lot of the things are reaching the end of their life anyway. So start on this side. One of the things I did in the spring, besides the raised beds over here, was make this little patio area. And I have some vinegar and some horticultural vinegar inside, so I can get rid of some of these weeds. Planted this redbud tree, and you'll see cardboard everywhere, because that's how I get rid of grass easily. So anytime I get a box in the mail, I'll just come put it out here so that the grass can die off, and eventually I'll add mulch or gravel. My vision is kind of like the raised bed area here, and then we'll have a big like oval of grass in the middle, and then the perimeter will be mulch with lots of plants. So that's the vision for the future. For now, it just looks messy and overgrown. I have a little butterfly bush, and pardon me that I don't remember any plant names usually. I'm really bad at remembering plant names, but I think this is called sorbet something. It did really bad at first, but it's coming back. Everything, this is all been planted this year, so everything's baby still. Here's my massive zucchini. I have a raspberry bush. There's some alliums under there. Asparagus is growing through the zucchini. Got some marigolds and zinnias popping up. Peppers. Sun gold tomatoes. Here's some hummingbirds. Looks like we got about an inch of rain yesterday. These are clementine tomatoes. These are black cherry tomatoes. Zinnia. And these are mochi tomatoes. These are all grown from seed. I get most of my seeds from Baker Creek. And note to self that for sun gold tomatoes is probably too many. I don't need that many tomatoes for myself. This is the strawberry bed, looking kind of rough. Have cucumbers growing on these trellises. They're little baby, like pickle-sized cucumbers. So I'll pick these later this afternoon. My dog Robbie loves cucumbers, so that's her favorite snack. These are my grapevines that I need to learn how to prune this year. We had spotted lanternfly larvae on them earlier this year, and then there was aphids. There's probably still aphids, yeah. I don't know if you can see that. So here's a pumpkin vine that it got eaten by the squash borer beetle. But if that happens to any of your squash, you can bury the stem and it will root itself back into the ground. So now he is happy again. I don't know if I'll get any tomato or pumpkins in time, but don't know if you don't try. This is kind of my herb bed with weeds growing in it. I have fennel. I just plant this for the butterflies. I'm pretty sure this is ginger. I just planted some ginger from, I had some leftover ginger from the store, so I just threw it in there, and I think that's what that is. Rosemary. These are oregano. Yeah, oregano. Some dill coming up, nasturtiums. That's pretty much it for the raised beds this year. Over here we have a rose of Sharon. This thing has made the comeback of the year. This got spider mites. As soon as I planted it, it looked so bad. So I cut it all the way back to the ground, and it's flushed out this much. It's got tons of little buds. And it's variegated, which is cool. This is and Invincible Spirit 2, I believe. It's got a vine crawling up it. My biggest enemy in this garden, I think, is going to be all vines. There's a million types of vines coming from everywhere, as you can see, growing on the fence. But this vine, from what I can tell, is some type of native butterfly weed, like a vining butterfly weed. Now, I don't want it growing in my hydrangea, but I'm not going to remove it completely. It's supposed to be good for butterflies, so I will leave this and let it grow. I need to get like a trellis or something for it to grow on, because I think it looks cool. It looks like a house plant. Then we have David Austin Rose. Which one are you? This is Emily Bronte, and it's putting out some new growth. It didn't bloom this year, but that's okay. Sometimes it takes a while. This is the star of the year. This is a Gatsby Moon oak leaf hydrangea. I'm guessing on most of these names. I think that's what it is. It came as a quart size shrub, and it put out massive blooms earlier in the spring. And it's grown that much from a quart this year. It's just a normal big box store big leaf hydrangea. I'm testing in this spot. I'm not 100% sure of the lighting around here quite yet. In the spring, this looked like it was getting enough shade, but in the summer when the sun's higher, it definitely got a little crispy. But then it came back and it looks okay now. So I might give it another year and see what it does. And if it's still not happy next year, then I'll move it somewhere shadier. And this is Invincible Lace Hydrangea. Also came as a quart this year and has not bloomed, but it has grown a ton. Hopefully it'll bloom next year. This is a type of rhododendron. It's got a funny name. What's its name? I think it's like something color wheel. I don't know. But also came as a quart. My main goal for the first year is that they just stay happy and healthy and get a good root system. I don't care if they bloom at first. Over here is kind of a work in progress. We have a random zinnia coming up and lots of grass. I did plant these. Planting is generous. I just threw out some seeds of catmint and agastache. It smells like licorice. It smells so good. I planted these two clematis, and we have some blooms looking cute. Pretty. This second clematis is very cool. It bloomed earlier and it has these yellow like bell kind of flowers that they like point down. So I thought that both of them would be cool growing up this rain spout together. And this is my American fringe tree. They don't actually get, well, I had one at my old house and it never actually got tree size. It stayed like a large shrub. So That's why I planted it in this spot so close to the porch. But in the spring, it puts out the most amazing smelling flowers. These little white, fringy flowers. They're very pretty and they smell so good. So I wanted it very close to where I sit and read so that I can smell it in spring. And here's our rain barrel. It fills up literally every time it rains. It's so heavy and full right now. I have to permanently leave the overflow drain open because every time it rains, it's just gonna be pouring out of here. I can't keep up with how much rain comes out of this one downspout. But it waters my fringe tree for me, so that's nice. And over here we have, this is something that came from the old house. It is a sunshine ligustrum, I think. It's in this pot, and I don't know if it's happy or not. It looks strange, very bleached. Maybe it's getting too much sun. And then I guess from my old house I had a bunch of catmint seed itself in here. So of course I'm gonna leave that. And my husband is getting into bonsai this year, so he has a couple bonsai trees around. Oh gosh, as soon as it's cooler, I'm gonna be out here pulling weeds, getting everything back in to shape. There's some more bonsai. This ficus is looking amazing. Look at all that new growth. I planted 3. What kind of hydrangeas are these? I can't remember. Maybe like Invincible Ruby, maybe? I think that's what they are. This is one of his bonsais that we went to our local nursery in like February, and they had this maple tree. It was on clearance for $20, and the tree was like 8 feet tall. So since it was on clearance, he wanted to try turning it into a bonsai, so we got it. He chopped it. You can see where he cut it. And it just sat here for months and did nothing. We thought it was dead. And then suddenly it put out all this growth. I'd say it's very happy. And over here, this is my little compost area. That's where I keep all my compost. There's a Japanese maple that I planted. More cardboard. I'm not going to go over there because the air conditioner is very loud. Oh, just turned off. Must have heard me. Got some hostas, some types of grasses. Look how pretty. Look at those flowers. I don't know if you can tell on camera how bright purple and pink they are. Wow. This is the prettiest hosta flower I think I've seen. Look at that. More hostas. This crazy looking Japanese maple. This is a bleeding heart, and they die off in the summer. They're like a very early spring plant, so it's normal for it to look like this. Hydrangea, more some some type of arborvitae. Don't remember which. This was a cool big leaf hydrangea that I saw that has more vines. It's not like those types that they change the color based on the pH of your soil. This one just stays white like a panicle hydrangea, but then as the blooms age, they turn to this pink color just like the panicle hydrangeas do. Very cool. Look at all these vines. Vines everywhere. Everywhere I look, vines. Different vines. This bleeding heart, same as the other one, but I am going to move this one in the fall because, like I was saying earlier, in the spring, this spot stayed nice and shady all day. But in the summer, this one little section right here gets quite a bit of sun. This guy can handle it as long as he gets enough water. This guy, I don't think, is happy, so I'm going to move him further in the shade. Another hosta, more grass. These two hydrangeas are mountain hydrangeas, which are my favorite type of hydrangea. I don't remember which ones they are. You can see this one did bloom earlier. That one hasn't bloomed, but that's okay. This is a Sum and Substance hosta, I think. This is Sun King Aurelia. Look, I've been, I don't know if you can see that. I've been slowly getting back into houseplants also, and some of my houseplants that I've had for a very long time, like 6 or 7 years, they have just been kind of surviving and not thriving. So I've been slowly going through and repotting everyone, and I just toss the old soil out here. And I guess an oxalis corm was in there, and it's just growing. Okay, you can stay. I got this at my local nursery a couple weeks ago, and I'll plant it once it cools down a little bit. It is Barrenwort. I really like these types of plants. I think they're very cool looking. And then I took a cutting from my neighbor who, my neighborhood has a garden club, and it's about to start up again in the fall. At the end of May, they had a garden tour, and we went to my neighbor's house, who's part of the garden club, and she had this vine growing everywhere. I mean, I think it's a weed, but it looks so cool. Look how fine the leaves are. And it puts out these really cool red blooms. So I took a piece and planted it, and it's doing good. I need to get a trellis for it. This is the Gatsby Glowball Oak Leaf Hydrangea. Also came as a quart and doing very well. This is another area I'm slowly working on. This is how I did the patio area. I just kind of lay out the bricks and then dig up each one while I'm listening to an audiobook or something. And all these bricks came from my parents live on a like a tree farm, pine tree farm, and they have like 100 acres, and they have all kinds of old buildings and just piles of bricks everywhere. So all these bricks came from there, which is very cool. the bench is going to be on top of these bricks eventually, but just pushed back so I can have room to dig. Behind the bricks are 3 Invincible Sublime hydrangeas. There's one hiding back there, which these are very cool because their blooms stay. Sorry about the constant zooming in and out. Their blooms stay this cool green. And this is a tree that we got from my parents' farm. It's a little cedar tree, I think. My husband's gonna bonsai that. And there's 2 more mountain hydrangeas, and of course more vines. There's another mountain hydrangea. Here's a Baptisia. Can't remember what this one's called. This is a Spirea that I accidentally destroyed it with the weed whacker, so that's why it's got a little cage so it can grow back. Here's a smoke bush, and this is I think this is a Gatsby pink oak leaf hydrangea, also planted as a court earlier this spring. It's put on a ton of growth. Oh, and this is a native honeysuckle. I can't remember what it's called, but it's gonna bloom yellow. I had the red version of this at my old house, and the hummingbirds absolutely loved it. And over here we have a redbud. Planted that this year. And another redbud we thought was dead. We were going to return it to Lowe's. But when I was literally taking it out of the truck to take to Lowe's, and I saw little growth points. So we kept it, turned it into a bonsai. There's another mountain hydrangea planted as a court. I love getting quart-sized things because, well, 1, it's cheaper, and 2, is easier to plant. And these are all things that came from my old house. Weeping Japanese maple. This is a cool oregano, type of oregano that puts out these like weeping type flowers. Very cool. And just some random agastache that planted itself. And this is kind of just the junk area where everything goes that I don't have a place for yet. So it looks quite messy, and it is a little unorganized, but one day it will be looking exactly how I want it to, hopefully. Okay, thanks for watching. a stained glass piece that I've been working on. It's a propagation station. A little like glass vial goes in here and you can put some cuttings in there. It turned out pretty good. Abby, you want a cucumber? You want a cucumber? Abby, was it good? Was it good? It's a couple hours later, and I wanted to update on what I was reading. So while I was making my stained glass, I finished listening to Sunburn. The audiobook was really good. I'll probably give it a 3. It was fine. Nothing wrong with it. It just, I didn't love the characters. Characters are like my number one thing. I don't mind if there's no plot. I just have to love the characters, and I didn't in that. The other book I'm currently reading is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. About halfway through. Enjoying that. I guess that's it. And I'm not sure how often I'll post, but thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.